Right
two
before the
touchdown.
flare.
Yeah,
Oh, touchdown.
two touchdown. And generally on these, to get the best distance, you make a Navy approach. Okay, you don't try to, finesse the flare, okay? Let's put it that way. You drive it into the ground, all right? Keep that fight path angle and keep that, that speed. And so you see, we've got here, the velocity at 50 feet minus the touchdown velocity over 2g. And then we add in the 50 feet here to get the air distance. Now, a couple of things about this. We want to make sure that we're not carrying additional thrust, that this value is minimized, or the thrust value at least is minimized during this, because if you have residual thrust on the airframe, it's going to float and take longer. So, and you don't want that. In doing the test, one of the and that's a common error, is that the pilot, in trying to get on speed and what have you, does not get rid of all the thrust. There's power still on the airplane when he passes a 50-foot offset. The ground distance, again, notice that, here the thrust ought to be, like it to be 0, and you just have the resistance. And the resistance is going to be brakes. And in doing these kinds of tests, you want to have spare brakes, spare tires, because there's a good chance you're going to smoke a tire. So I know when I worked at Beach, we used to do these tests up in Salina, Kansas. Well, Salina, Kansas is 100 nautical miles north of Wichita. But they had a nice 12,000-foot runway up there. But it generally took us, we had to take 2 airplanes to go do the test. One to carry all the stuff, and the test airplane. Because always took spare wheels, actually, so you could change the whole, you didn't do a tire change, you just changed the wheel. And the tire's already mounted. And you tried to, while you were doing the test, for landings, you'd leave the gear down after takeoff to cool the brakes off. Because if the brakes got too hot, they would start to fade and your test distances would go up. But anyway, and one of the big mistakes in doing this kind of testing is making sure you come to a complete stop. And sit there for a while, because whatever you're using to record the data, when you got a lot of data, and it goes and, it's versus time, the pilot comes up and he gets on the brakes and stops, and the airplane does that little maneuver, and then he taxis off. You will never see that, and you'll never find it in the data, and you just lost a run. So you generally stop on the runway, sit there for a finite amount of time before you try to taxi away. Otherwise, you'll just lose a lot of data. Several test methods. I think it's about lunchtime, so maybe we'll break here and come back and talk about test methods.